It's today's Variety 101.9 The Mix. It's McCabe and Jenny from the Afternoon Mix, and super excited to catch up with a singer-songwriter from Chicago, living in Nashville, that has a song during the holidays about Chicago, Jackson Dreyer. There he is.
Crazy.
How are you?
Good. Well, I'm good other than my dog almost knocking over my computer.
I
So
saw that. Was that the dog?
that was the dog. I'm gonna move my Santa mug off of my same stand that has my computer so I don't lose everything.
Totally fine. I can hear him knocking over stuff. I gotta say, I love the jacket. I love the tree. Let's just talk about the look real quick.
Yes.
Is this something you've had in your closet, or is it you just got this?
I've had this in my closet for an embarrassing amount of time. I bought it in the ladies section at a Goodwill years ago, and yeah, it's every now and again it's my show jacket. I think I'm wearing it at my show on Friday in Nashville, but we'll see. I might text a couple friends and see if they have some ugly sweaters or something like that. I wore it.
That looks good.
You like it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I love the outfit, Jackson, but more impressive, I love the mustache. Like, how did you decide to go that route?
Mm-hmm.
The mustache, I actually did not decide to do it during COVID like everybody else. You know, a lot of people tried the facial hair out. I like to think I was a trailblazer. It was like 2018, maybe 2019, and I was on a hiking trip. We were doing a 14er in Colorado with my brothers and my dad. Do y'all know about 14ers?
It's 14 miles?
What is 14ers?
14,000 feet mountains.
Okay.
So it wasn't that crazy. We weren't like ice picking, up Everest or something like that. But it was, took most of the day to climb up to the top. And, for like 4 days, I didn't shave. And still nothing came in on the sides, really. But a horrible mustache started to come in. And my brothers were like, you need to get rid of that. And I was like, guys, this is big news. I might be able to grow some facial hair. And so I just kept it going, and everybody in my life was telling me, you look terrible, don't do it, shave it. And then I ended up shaving it for charity for people living in Nashville who I have a show on Friday. We're also benefiting this organization that I work with. But I shaved it off for them a few years ago, and everybody that hated the mustache were like, ooh, grow it back, gross, we don't like your normal face. So I've kind of stuck with it. It's like a trauma bond thing, but it's great.
Look, so here I'm there with you. Like when you find out you can grow some facial hair, first I didn't know because I always shaved. Then when you find out, you're like, oh my gosh, I can actually have it. It becomes a part of you. And then when you go for a long time and then shave it, everyone's like, whoa, what happened to your face?
Ew.
Ew. Put the hair back on.
And have you tried doing the facial hair thing?
Mine doesn't grow in like that, but I don't want to find out. So
I guess
Jackson, we think it looks great. It adds to your music as well when you're up on stage. But take us back, man. You're from Chicago. Early on, were you playing around town? What were some early memories for you here?
So I'm from Vernon Hills, so Chicago land. It's just when you go to Nashville, you just tell people you're from Chicago.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But a lot of weekends, tons of Cubs games and going to the museums and stuff like that. I'd be down in Chicago a good bit with my family. But it was up in Vernon Hills. I started playing music with this blues band. It was called Van Buren and Wells, which was across street in Chicago, and we had a great time doing Chicago blues rock. And that's where I started as a saxophone player in that band. And then they were like, oh, he plays a little bit of guitar. And then around that time I was starting to sing. And then that's kind of how it all started. And I realized, I'd always wanted to do music, but I started to realize that I could be a front man and write my own songs. And so then that led me to Nashville, and I've been here ever since. But I've never forgotten about Chicago, and we can talk about how I ended up writing this song Christmas in Chicago, but there's lots of love in my heart for my hometown.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to get to your song that's out, but you said your great grandfather was a professional banjo player like in the 30s and 40s. So there was no other musical inspiration in your family besides your great grandfather?
Nobody. Now my mom, for most of my life, she's talked about how she can't sing, can't carry a tune, anything like that. And I always kind of believed her. I heard her like a few months ago. I was like, you got a nice voice. But her side of the family, not very musical, but I got her visual artistic side. She's always been great at drawing and painting. So the new artwork that I did for this song and my past few singles, I've been doing all the the graphic design for that. So I'm starting to lean into that too. But yeah, so I kind of got visual art from her, and then from my dad's side, he can sing. He always wishes he learned to play guitar. And then my great grandpa, he was, he wasn't like a full time professional, but he would kind of weekend warrior thing, playing wherever he was, doing gigging like that, and he was doing banjo. So my dad has his banjo now in his office, which is pretty fun. Maybe I'll learn to play it someday, but we're working on other things right now.
Well, I mean, now being in Nashville, you said you moved when you were 18.
Yeah, 18
Okay, so
came down.
18. So I mean, you're in one of the greatest cities on the planet for music, for songwriters. Being there and being in the venues as well. What have you learned so far, and what have you been have you been spending your time in Nashville? Are you just like at venues every weekend, every night?
It's a lot, and it's my artistry, my own music isn't paying all my bills yet. That's certainly the goal. But I am a full-time musician, so like I have 2 residencies with my own music, my own band in Nashville, and those are both downtown. So we have a show on Friday where I bring out guest artists and everybody sings a song. So it's Jackson's Jingle Jam. So everybody's doing Christmas songs.
Nice.
I'll be wearing this jacket. But I do that, once a month, and that's a great way for me to invite artists that I respect or artists that I want to give a platform to a great crowd. It's a fun way of just involving my friends. Then they get to see my show, and it's a bit of a community building thing for me. Then I also, sing in some corporate bands, and I play for country, Christian, and pop artists on the side, playing guitar, keys, whatever. So it's a whole thing when you come down here. But then, I'm working on my records and writing with people, both for them and for me. It's a all encompassing, all in sort of thing.
So some of your musical influences have ranged from Maroon 5 to Justin Timberlake to Stevie Wonder. How did that come to be? Are those all artists you listened to growing up, or you like their style?
Yeah, so one of my biggest inspirations as well, I need to talk about more, but is Chicago, the band. I have, I think, 16 of their records downstairs, and I actually have a chair with the Chicago logo embroidered on it that was owned by the trumpet player of Chicago. So, like, Chicago was a big influence for me, and that's why I loved horns, and all my music these days has horns in it for the most part. So I'll arrange the trumpets and the saxophones myself, which is a great way of, bringing in that big influence of mine. And then in high school, I started singing a ton of Justin Timberlake, which is why I show off my falsetto a lot these days, because I just loved Timberlake. And yeah, James Taylor, Carole King, all that. My next single that I'll be putting out is a little more James Taylor acoustic. So I'm always trying to pull it in and try not pigeonhole myself, because for a while I think I pigeonholed myself a little bit too much. And I'm like, there's so much great music that I love. I want to, show that. So
I mean, you really have like that cool, soulful, easy listening sound. I just want to be at like a nightclub late at night, just like watching your guitar solos, just jamming out. Like, it's good stuff.
Come on down to Nashville, or I got to get a Chicago show going. We'll get you out. It'd be a fun time.
Get you up here.
I would love that. Drop of a hat. I'll drive the 8 hours.
Well, speaking of Chicago, your new song, Christmas in Chicago, let's break it down. What is Christmas in Chicago to you?
Absolutely. Christmas in Chicago, on the surface level, Christmas in Chicago is walking down, looking through the windows at Macy's, riding the train in my case, from the suburbs, and everybody getting off with like presents in their hand, all the shopping and the cold front coming in, but you're at the Chris Kindle market. Those are all the little memories I would have, people playing Christmas carols on the corner with the saxophone, and that's it to me. But then the third verse of the song references all the neighborhoods and the anticipation and all that. And I think I try to take it beyond just you're in the loop shopping, and it's like, no, this is a whole citywide thing, where there is that anticipation, and there's even if you're not a Christian celebrating Christmas, there's still that holiday spirit, and I really love that. And I don't feel that, sorry Nashville, but I don't feel it here. It's something where Chicago, it's my favorite city, and you feel that everybody has that thing, and we also have the best flag on earth. up in Chicago. So there's that civic unity that no other city seems to have quite like Chicago. So and I'll tell y'all if you want the story of how I wrote it.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear it.
I was in a tour van somewhere in Canada last year, and I was just like, it was October, I think, and I was thinking about Christmas coming up and how I kind of missed it. I was already a little more homesick because we've been on the road for a little while, and I was like, man, there's nothing like Christmas in Chicago, and I was like, that flew off the tongue pretty nice. And I was in the back of the van with my little MIDI keyboard and my laptop up, and I pulled up just, you can only play so much with like 25 keys. And I just started like playing like C, C, A, D, D, G, G. And I was in the back like, there's nothing like Christmas in Chicago. And I was like, that's super catchy. That's super catchy. So I wrote a lot of it on that van, and I think everybody in the van was sick of me because I kept like singing it. But then they were like, okay, it's pretty catchy. And then I knew that I had to put it out for this Christmas. So that's how I wrote it. And I'm just so happy that it's finally out, and I'm happy that you guys are helping give it a platform, because I think it's it's really fun, and just kind of tells the story that I had of missing home when I'm living somewhere else, or just reminiscing on the good old days. And what better place than Chicago to sing about?
I absolutely agree. And when you do come back to Chicago, I don't know how often you visit. I know you only have so much time here. What is that one restaurant that you have to go to when you're in town to visit?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't know the name of it. It was right by my brother and his wife. They live in Germany now, but they used to live right by the Salvation Army, right next to a Blue Line stop. And there's this great Italian restaurant across the street. I forget the name of it. So good. We would go there most times. I would visit them. I can't.
Well, now
remember.
it's gonna be a mystery spot. You're gonna have to
like mystery.
Look this up for the Blue Line.
I swear, I'm not trying to like gatekeep it like those people.
Yeah, sure, man. Yeah. Like you know the greatest restaurant. You're not
I'm sorry,
sharing it with us.
Pequot's fine.
Oh, what's the dish that you get at this said Italian place?
I'm always trying different things. I don't know. As long as I have a bourbon drink with me, I'm feeling pretty good about whatever I'm eating.
Nice.
Yeah. Now, I'm curious, have you heard from Mariah Carey's people on having a Christmas song out?
Well, a few people text me. Mostly Michael Bublé's people are after me because they're like, "Are you trying to do Mr. Christmas?" And I was like, "Whoa, man! Like this town is big enough for the two of us." So they're feeling really threatened by me and my song. Okay. Yeah.
Mariah, make sure. Yeah, it's competitive. It's competitive out there. So I just want to.
Yeah. I mean, Mariah and I were just sending snaps to each other, just goofy duck face stuff like that. But she's good. Michael Bublé and I though.
You guys are good. We're gonna expect a tour maybe in 2024, maybe next December. You guys tour together.
No, I would. If one of those people takes me on tour, I would crush that. It'd be so fun.
Well, speaking of 2024, what goals do you have? What plans are coming up for you?
Absolutely. So 2024 is really exciting. I had a 2-year hiatus from releasing music. I've been putting stuff out since 2017 and have a lot of music out, but a lot of life kind of hit the fan and COVID and all that. And I finally in August put out my first single of kind of this new era. It's called Rooftop. And I wrote that one. Sorry, Chicago. I wrote it about New York because I love, I know, I'm sorry, but
on here.
Chicago has rooftops.
You're trying to win over every major city. Is the next song going to be about LA?
Yeah, you knew it. But that song Rooftop is about New York. It's just a great summer jam. And then I put out a song called Dagger that I did write in LA. There you go. We got it all. And then in January, late January, early February, I'm putting out this song called See You Around, right around Valentine's Day. It is a great sad boy breakup song. The story actually, I have the couch right in front of me. I was broken up on a few years ago, and as she was leaving, she goes, "See you around," and I was like, "Don't say that. That's brutal." Yeah. Listen, if you guys are songwriters or any songwriters know this, you can be getting broken up with, and you're like, "That's a great title." And so I went and wrote it. I think like a week later with my friend Chase McDaniel, and that's gonna be the next single. But it's really, really cool. It's also the first song This song and Christmas in Chicago are the first songs that I've solo produced just myself,
Wow.
which is kind of new territory for me because I really want to, I love working with really talented producers in town, but sometimes, the right song or the right feeling, I'm like, I think I can do kind of all of it. And it's been a really fun journey. So, Christmas in Chicago, I arranged the band and arranged the horns and, we just went into the studio and recorded it. And, I'm sitting there playing like glockenspiel and stuff. It's all pretty fun.
Well, congratulations on everything. We want to thank you for taking the time to take a moment with us. And maybe real quick, can we see Disco one more time? Is he still around?
Disco, come here. While he's coming over, I'll show y'all. If I come up to Chicago, I can bring y'all these Christmas in Chicago ornaments. But
oh yes, please, Disco Ball, yes.
Disco balls and of course Disco here.
And of course Disco.
Come here, come on up.
How'd you name him Disco?
I named him Disco. Well, so he was abandoned downtown, tied to a pole, not doing great. And my friend sent me a photo of him, and he looked exactly like my first dog, Radar. And I was like, I need to adopt this dog, and I didn't know what to name him. And my friend Christian at People Loving Nashville, which is a great homeless outreach organization I work with, she was like, "You love disco balls," hence the disco ball, and I hang him up at my shows and stuff like that. So she was like, "How about Disco?" And it's the perfect dog name, and he kind of looks like a disco ball,
He does.
So that's my pooch, and his gotcha day was on Thursday. So I've had him for a year now, and he is just the sweetest pooch.
Aww.
Well, he is in the best home, and I love the holiday spirit that you have going already. Again, Jackson Dreyer, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with McCabe and Jenny here from The Mix. And Christmas in Chicago is out now. I mean, this is the holidays. Let's put it on 24/7.
Go jam it. Thank you. Thank you, McCabe and Jenny. I really appreciate you guys. And I got to make up to Chicago soon.